Picture this. Your cast iron pan is sitting in the sink right now, half submerged in cold, soapy water, waiting for you to get to it later. Stop. You are ruining it. An Italian nonna would have snatched that pan out of the water before you finished filling it. Today we're counting down 25 cast iron mistakes that are quietly destroying your pan. And number 1 is the one almost everybody is making tonight. Let's get into it. Number 25. Cooking everything on blazing high heat. People hear cast iron sears and leave the flame roaring for everything. But cast iron doesn't need high heat the way a thin pan does. It stores and holds heat, so once it's hot, medium is usually plenty. Blast it constantly and you burn your food, you scorch the seasoning, and over time you can even warp the pan. A nonna cooked on a steady, moderate fire and let the iron do the work. Here's the rule she'd give you. Bring it up to temperature on medium, and once it's hot, turn the flame down before the food goes in. The pan is already carrying more heat than you think. High flame is for the first 2 minutes of a hard sear and nothing else. Watch for the smoke. If the pan is smoking before the food arrives, you've gone too far and you're burning the seasoning off, not cooking. Get it properly hot, then bring the flame down. And the next mistake is the one that makes everything stick. Number 24. Not preheating it long enough. This is why food welds itself to your pan. Cast iron is thick and heats slowly and unevenly at first. The middle gets hot while the edges are still cold, and food grabs those cold spots. Most people give it a minute and start cooking. A nonna gave it 4 or 5 full minutes over medium until the whole surface was evenly hot. Test it by flicking a few drops of water on. When they skate across like little beads instead of just sitting and bubbling, it's ready. If the drops just sit there and fizz slowly, the pan is still cold in places, and whatever you put down will weld to it. And if you're cooking something big or heavy, give it even longer. She'd sometimes slide the empty pan into a warm oven for 10 minutes, so the whole slab came up evenly, edge to edge, with no cold rim. Patience first, then food. If bringing back these old kitchen rules sounds good to you, subscribe. We're bringing back the tricks Nonna never wrote down. And the next one ruins the surface before you even start. Number 23. Pouring the oil into a cold pan and heating them together. It feels logical, and it's wrong. Oil sitting in a slowly heating pan has time to seep and turn gummy, and it leaves a sticky film instead of a slick surface. A nonna heated the pan first, waited until it was properly hot, and only then added a thin film of oil, swirled it once, and put the food straight in. Hot metal, then oil, then food, fast. That split-second layer of hot oil is what makes the surface behave like non-stick, and use less than you think. A thin film swirled around, not a pool sitting in the middle. If you can see the oil sloshing, you've got too much, and it will smoke and turn bitter before the food is even in. A nonna wiped the excess out with a folded cloth if she'd overdone it. And the next mistake turns a good sear into gray mush. Number 22, crowding the pan. You want dinner done, so you pile everything in at once. The temperature crashes, the food releases its water, and instead of browning, it steams in its own juice and turns gray. A nonna would rather cook her cutlets or her meat in 2 or 3 small batches than ruin the lot in one crowded pan. Leave space around each piece so the heat stays high and the moisture escapes. The rule of thumb: you should be able to see the bare pan between every piece. If the food is touching, it's steaming its neighbor. And give the pan a moment to come back up to temperature between batches, because each cold batch pulls it down again. 5 extra minutes is the difference between browned and boiled. And the next one is the impatience that tears your food apart. Number 21. Moving the food too soon. You put the meat down and immediately start poking, nudging and flipping. And it sticks and shreds every time. Here's what nobody tells you. When a proper crust forms, food releases from the iron on its own. If it's stuck, it simply isn't ready. A nonna laid it down and left it alone, and when it let go easily, she turned it. hands off. Let the crust build, and the pan will hand the food back to you. For a steak, that's usually 3 or 4 minutes without touching it. For fish, even longer. If you try to lift it and it fights you, put it down and wait another minute. It will tell you when it's ready. Every time you nudge it early, you tear the crust off and leave a little of your dinner welded to the iron. And the next mistake is trying to run before you can walk. Number 20. Cooking eggs or delicate fish on a young, barely seasoned pan. A brand new or freshly stripped pan is not non-stick yet, and eggs and fish are the hardest test there is. You end up scraping half your breakfast off the iron and blaming the pan. A Nonna built her seasoning first with forgiving foods. Bacon, sausage, potatoes, anything fatty, for weeks, and only then trusted it with a fried egg. Earn the surface, then use it. Every fatty thing you cook lays down another microscopic layer, so after a few weeks of bacon and sausage and fried potatoes, that same pan will slide an egg around like it's on glass. Rush to the egg on day 1, and all you'll get is a scraped pan and a bad opinion of cast iron. Delicate food is the reward, not the training. And the next block is where most pans really get ruined: seasoning. Number 19. Using far too much oil when you season it. More oil does not mean more protection. It means a sticky, tacky, gummy finish that never hardens properly and peels off in patches. This is the single most common seasoning failure. A Nonna used the tiniest amount and then wiped it back until the pan looked almost dry, as if she'd made a mistake. That whisper of oil is exactly right. Thin layers, built up over time, are what create a hard, glassy surface. Thick ones just stay sticky forever. And if your pan already has that tacky, slightly gummy feel that never quite goes away, this is almost certainly why. Too much oil, baked on soft. The fix isn't more oil, it's scrubbing that gummy layer back and redoing it thin. Less is genuinely more here. And the next one is choosing the wrong oil entirely. Number 18. Seasoning with the wrong oil. Not every fat can do this job. A delicate oil with a low smoke point, good extra virgin olive oil, butter, will burn and go gummy long before it hardens into a proper coat. You want a neutral oil that takes high heat, vegetable oil, grapeseed, or plain shortening. A Nonna used what she had, but she used it hot enough to work. Save the good green olive oil for the food and the plate, never for baking a coat onto the iron. If your own Nonna cooked on cast iron like this, subscribe and cook along with us. And the next mistake wastes the whole effort. Number 17. Seasoning at too low a temperature. This is why people season a pan 3 times and it still isn't slick. Seasoning isn't grease sitting on metal. It's oil transformed by heat into a hard, plastic-like layer bonded to the iron, and that transformation only happens at high heat. Bake it too cool and the oil never changes. It just sits there, soft and sticky. A Nonna's version was a hot oven in time. Around 450 degrees, a full hour, then let it cool inside. Hot enough to transform, or you're just oiling a pan. And do it upside down with a tray underneath, so nothing pools in the bottom while it bakes. 2 or 3 rounds like that, and the pan turns properly black and slick. 1 lukewarm round does nothing at all, which is why so many people give up on seasoning convinced it doesn't work. And the next one is the finishing touch everyone skips. Number 16. Not wiping the oil back before it goes in the oven. Even with the right oil at the right heat, if you leave it pooled and shiny, it bakes into blotchy, sticky patches that flake off later. Wipe it back, really back, with a clean cloth until the pan looks matte and barely oiled. It feels like you've removed all of it. You haven't. There's plenty in the pores of the iron. A Nonna wiped hers until it looked dry, then baked it. If your seasoning has ever come out tacky, this was why. Think of it as staining wood rather than painting it. You're driving a trace of oil into the metal, not laying a coat on top of it. Use a clean cloth for the wipe back, not the oily one you applied with, or you'll just spread it around again. and the next one attacks the coat you just built. Number 15. Hacking at a young pan with sharp metal utensils. Once your seasoning is thick and mature, cast iron is tough and a metal spatula is fine. But on a new or freshly seasoned pan, scraping with a sharp edge gouges straight through that thin coat and takes you back to bare metal, and suddenly everything sticks again. A nonna stirred and turned with a worn wooden spoon while the pan was young. Be gentle at the start, and you can be rough for the next 50 years. And the next mistake undoes it all in 30 seconds. Number 14. Going at it with steel wool. Something stuck, so you reach for the harshest thing under the sink and scour the pan back to shiny gray metal. And you've just destroyed years of seasoning in half a minute. There is only one time steel wool belongs near cast iron, when the pan is already badly rusted and you're deliberately stripping it to start over. For daily cleaning, a nonna used coarse salt and a cloth, which lifts stuck food without touching the black coat underneath. The salt works like a gentle scouring powder, abrasive enough for burnt bits, far too soft to cut the seasoning. A stiff brush or a chainmail scrubber is fine too, but the wire wool that lives under the sink for scrubbing pots is the one thing that should never touch a pan you've spent months building. Salt, not steel. And the next one is the most argued about mistake of all. Number 13. Scrubbing it with harsh detergent after every single meal. Now, let's be accurate, because there's a lot of myth here. A small amount of mild dish soap on a well-seasoned pan will not destroy it. What does the damage is harsh, degreasing detergent used heavily every day that strips the oils and slowly wears the seasoning thin. A nonna cleaned hers while it was still warm with coarse salt, a splash of hot water and a cloth, and it came clean and stayed slick. Gentle and quick, not a chemical bath. And everything I've just told you about looking after that pan, the salt, the wipe back, the drop of oil while it's warm, lives in one chapter of Nonna's Handbook, along with 113 other tricks, all numbered, so you can find the one you need with flour on your hands. The link is in the description below. Now, number 12. And it's the fastest way to kill a pan outright. Number 12. Putting it in the dishwasher. This is the execution. One cycle of harsh detergent, scalding water, and a long wet soak strips every bit of seasoning and leaves bare iron sitting damp for an hour. The pan comes out dull, gray, and often already spotted with orange rust. There is no argument here and no exception. A nonna would have gasped at the idea. And if it's already happened to you, don't panic and don't bin it. Scrub the rust back, dry it on the flame and re-season it, and the pan will be fine. It just costs you an evening and a couple of years of built-up surface. Cast iron is cleaned by hand, dried by heat, and oiled by love. And the next one attacks it from the inside. Number 11. Simmering an acidic tomato sauce in it for hours. Here's the nuance nobody explains. A quick 15-minute tomato sauté in a well-seasoned pan is perfectly fine. But a long, all-day acidic braise slowly eats away at the seasoning, and the food picks up a faint metallic taste. That's the acid dissolving the very coat you built. A nonna did her quick sauté in the iron and her all-day sugo in a clay pot or an enameled one. The older and thicker the seasoning, the more acid it can shrug off. A decades-old pan handles a tomato sauce far better than a 3-week-old one. So the rule scales with the pan. Young pan, keep the acid short. Ancient pan, you have more room. Short and acidic, fine. Long and acidic, move it. And the next one is the same problem with a different liquid. Number 10. Leaving watery food sitting in the pan after it's cooked. Even a finished stew or a pot of beans left to cool in the iron keeps working on it. The moisture sits against the surface for hours, softening the seasoning and starting rust underneath the food. A nonna moved the food into a bowl or a container as soon as it came off the heat, then cleaned and dried the pan. The pan is for cooking, not for storing. Food out, pan dried. And the next block is where good pans quietly die, the cupboard. Number 9, putting it away with the lid clamped on tight. It looks tidy and it's a trap. A tight lid seals in whatever tiny bit of moisture is left in the air inside, and that damp sits against the iron for weeks until you open it and find rust. A Nonna either stored the lid separately or laid it on loosely with a folded paper towel between so air could move. Let the pan breathe. That paper towel does double duty. It holds the lid off the rim and it soaks up any moisture that finds its way in. Check it every few weeks. If it ever feels damp, your cupboard is wetter than you think and the pan needs a different home. Sealed and damp is how a good pan rots quietly in the dark. And the next storage mistake scratches as well as rusts. Number 8, stacking pans directly on top of each other. The bottom of one pan grinds against the cooking surface of the next every time you pull them out, scoring the seasoning, and the contact points trap moisture between them. A Nonna slipped a folded cloth or a sheet of paper between each one. It takes 2 seconds, and it protects both the surface and the dryness. Small habit, decades of pan. And the next one is about where you keep them at all. Number 7, storing it in a damp cupboard or under the sink. Under the sink is the worst place in the house for cast iron. Pipes, sweat, the air is humid, and rust needs nothing more than that. Even a perfectly dried, freshly oiled pan will slowly bloom orange in there. A Nonna kept hers out where the air was dry and warm, hanging on a hook or right on the stove where it was used constantly. Dry air or no air, but never damp. And the next one is a mistake of neglect rather than damage. Number 6, not using it. This is the quiet one. A cast iron pan that sits on a shelf for months never improves, and the seasoning slowly degrades instead of building. Every single time you cook in it, another microscopic layer bakes on, and the surface gets blacker and slicker. That's the whole reason an old pan beats a new one. A Nonna's pan was on the stove nearly every day of her life, which is exactly why it was perfect. If yours has been sitting unused, the cure is embarrassingly simple. Cook something fatty in it 3 or 4 times this week. Bacon, sausages, fried potatoes, and you'll feel the surface change under the spatula. Use it, and it fixes itself. Shelve it, and it stalls. And the next mistake is the saddest of all. Number 5. Throwing away a rusty pan. People find a crusty orange pan in the back of a cupboard or at a flea market and decide it's finished. It almost never is. Cast iron is a solid slab of metal. Rust is only on the surface. Scrub the rust off. This is the one time steel wool is right. Wash it, dry it completely, and season it fresh with thin baked layers of oil, and that dead orange lump comes back as a smooth black working pan. For a really bad one, soak it in a 50-50 mix of vinegar and water for an hour or 2 to loosen the rust. Then scrub, rinse, dry it immediately on the flame and season it straight away. Never leave a stripped pan sitting bare, because it will flash rust within the hour. A Nonna would have rescued it without a second thought. Iron practically never truly dies. And the next one can genuinely break the pan in half. Number 4, shocking it with cold water while it's screaming hot. The pan is filthy and still ripping hot, so you run it under the cold tap and listen to it hiss. Don't. That sudden violent change makes the iron contract so fast it can warp the pan permanently, and in bad cases crack it clean through. A Nonna let her pan cool down before it ever met water. Or, if she wanted it clean immediately, added a splash of hot water while it was hot, never cold. That hot splash actually works in your favor. It steams the stuck bits loose in seconds without shocking the metal. The same rule applies in reverse. Don't take a cold pan straight from the fridge or a cold garage and slam it onto a roaring flame. Gentle changes, long life. And the next 3 are all about the same enemy, water. Number 3, letting it air dry on the rack. You wash it, you towel it, you set it on the drying rack feeling responsible. And there's still invisible moisture in the pores of the iron, quietly starting to rust. Towel drying alone is not enough for cast iron. Nonna put the washed pan straight back on the burner for a minute until every trace of water had steamed off and the pan was hot and bone dry. Then a drop of oil while it was still warm. Dry it with heat, not with air. And the next one is the same mistake, one step later. Number 2. Putting it away while it's still even slightly damp. This is the one that gets people who otherwise do everything right. The pan feels dry to the hand, into the cupboard it goes, and 3 weeks later there's orange bloom in the bottom. Iron only needs the faintest film of moisture and time. Nonna's rule was simple and absolute. It goes away hot, dry, and lightly oiled, or it doesn't go away at all. If in doubt, back on the flame for another minute. And now, number 1. The mistake almost everyone makes, and the fastest way there is to destroy a cast iron pan. Number 1. Leaving it to soak in the sink. This is the pan killer, and it's happening in kitchens right now. Something's stuck, so you fill the pan with water and a squirt of soap and leave it to loosen while you eat. What's actually happening is this. The seasoning is a hard layer of polymerized oil, and prolonged soaking softens it, lifts it, and floats it away. And underneath it, bare iron sitting in standing water begins to rust within hours. Come back in the morning, and you'll find a dull gray pan with orange blooms and a surface that sticks to everything from now on. Nonna would never, ever let a pan sit in water. Not for 10 minutes, not for 1. Clean it warm, right away. A splash of hot water, coarse salt, a wooden spoon for the stuck bits, dry it on the flame, wipe it with a drop of oil. 60 seconds, and the pan lives another 50 years. And if it's already been sitting in there overnight, don't despair. Pull it out, scrub the rust off, dry it hard on the flame, and give it a coat of oil. It will come back. But it never had to happen in the first place. If your pan is in the sink as you're watching this, go and rescue it now. So there they are. 25 ways people quietly ruin a cast iron pan without ever meaning to. And when you lay them all out, you see the truth underneath them all. Cast iron almost never breaks. It gets neglected, left wet, scrubbed bare, sealed away damp, or simply never used. Every single one of these mistakes is the same story. A good, honest piece of iron that would have outlived its owner, undone by a habit nobody ever corrected. The good news is that it works the other way too. Almost nothing you've done is permanent. Scrub it, dry it, oil it, use it, and the pan forgives you and starts building itself back the very next time you cook. That's why Nonna's pan came from her mother and went to her grandchildren. So let me leave you with this. Which of these 25 were you doing without knowing? Tell me down below. Be honest. We've all soaked one. Subscribe and cook along with us as we bring back the tricks the world was starting to forget.